We enter the maze of Deluxe, a place of ruin and death. A masked warrior is on his knees. He realizes this new body is too weak. Before him stands the ruler, Deluxe. The beast's eyes glow with raw power. The warrior tightens his grip on his sword. He knows this fight could be his last. The monster lets out a furious roar. Our boy raises his shield to defend. Deluxe brings his giant axe crashing down. A blur of motion and pure rage. The impact shatters the very ground. He's pushed back by the sheer force, but deflects the blow with a skill. His shield is sent flying from the impact. He uses the opening to spin inside, closing the distance for a counterattack. His eyes lock onto the target. The blade slices deep into the beast's arm. A cry of agony echoes through the maze. The monster's weapon clatters to the floor. He stands over the disarmed creature. Deluxe's massive body slumps to the ground. The warrior knew its weakness all along. Deluxe's heart is on the right side. A fatal mistake for all who came before. They aimed for the left and paid the price. He knows because he's killed him 1,000 times. Blood-soaked, he now seeks his true prize. He walks over the bones of the fallen. Beyond the beast lies what it was guarding. A massive, ancient door blocks his path. A strange light descends from above. The great doors slowly grind open, and he steps into a room of gold. It's exactly as he remembered it. A treasure hoard beyond any king's dream. But his eyes are fixed on the throne. He picks up the cursed dagger, and realizes he's trapped in this loop. The scene shifts to a bustling tavern. Rumors spread of the Minotaur's defeat. A hooded figure wonders who could have done it. It's our boy, his mask on the table. The chef brings him food, making small talk. He asks the kid where he's from. The warrior quietly answers Aram village. The chef recalls that village vanished recently. Our boy just smirks, avoiding the question. The chef backs down, saying he knew someone there. Our boy just keeps eating, deflecting the question. A memory of a burning village flashes in his mind. The scene cuts to a blood-soaked, hooded figure. His face is a mask of rage and pain. He collapses, clutching his head in agony. He looks down to see his hands are covered in blood. A desperate shout for help cuts through the chaos. Village guards rush past him, yelling to defend their home. He's bewildered by their medieval armor. Before he can react, a sickening sound echoes. A guard is impaled by massive spikes. A monstrous shadow crashes down on the street. The silhouette of a snarling beast emerges. A bipedal wolf monster stands over the carnage. The guards he just saw now lie dead at its feet. He recognizes them as members of Banta Black Ring. Memories assault him, a life he can't recall. He knows the names of the men who just died, and he realizes with horror where he is. This is Aram village, his home under attack. The beast sniffs the air, locking onto its next prey. Suddenly, a powerful blow sends it reeling. He looks up with a crazed, desperate smile. He knows this is the moment he's going to die. He tries to steady himself to find his calm, but composure is impossible in this nightmare. The beast lunges forward with a terrifying roar. Its razor-sharp claws are ready to tear him apart. He throws up his staff in a desperate block. The blow shatters his weapon and sends him flying. He hits the stone ground, his body broken. He questions if this is truly the end. The monster stalks toward his fallen body. Its cold, yellow eye locks onto him. A surge of defiance flashes in his eyes. He fights to make his paralyzed body move. His muscles refuse to obey his command. The shadow of death falls over him completely. Suddenly, a voice screams his name, Hands. A red-haired warrior flies through the air. He swings a massive polearm at the beast. The warrior lands, shielding Hands from the monster. He calls Hands Flop, confused by his state. He yells at Hands for just sitting there, but the monster roars, interrupting their exchange. Enraged, the warrior turns back to the beast. He spins his weapon, preparing to strike again. He blocks a claw swipe, his weapon drawing blood. The warrior readies his sword for the kill. The warrior drives his sword into the beast. The entire village is engulfed in flames. With the monster dead, he turns to Hands. He asks how long he's going to stay frozen, but our boy denies his own name. The warrior thinks he's lost his mind. He tells him to stop being a burden. A strange new light fills the kid's eyes. Enraged, the warrior grabs him by the collar. He realizes he's possessing Hans's body. His mind drifts back to a forgotten memory. He takes a moment to process the truth. He questions how this could even be possible. A memory of the game's lore flashes through his mind. He knows the storage was destroyed days ago. This is the first tutorial of the game. The realization hits him like a lightning bolt. He's at the start of the hero's journey. With a new purpose, he breaks into a run. His eyes are filled with sharp determination. He finally stops, catching his breath. A confident smile spreads across his face. He's found the perfect spot, a quiet stable. He steps inside the empty wooden building. He covers his mouth, a plan forming. He finds a pile of animal droppings. He needs to mask his human scent. This is no time to be squeamish. He smears the filth all over his body. Outside, a villager screams for help. He knows there's nothing he can do. The cries for mercy echo through the village. He peers out the stable window. Something outside catches his eye. He watches the chaos unfold. A wide grin spreads across his face. The game's playable character has arrived. The hero of the Silver Moon, Cadiz. His opponent is the tutorial boss, the king of Wolfraken's Silver Mane Durkin. The hero and the beast face off. Cadiz lunges forward, blade gleaming. His focus is absolute. He strikes a decisive blow, but something is terribly wrong. The hero lies dead on the ground. He desperately hopes for a respawn. He assures himself it's just a game. But the hero doesn't move. The grim reality begins to set in. His fist clenches, stained with filth and blood. He strikes himself hard across the face. He knows this is his one and only chance. Outside, the village continues to burn. The hero's body lies cold on the ground. He decides he has to try something. He reaches for the fallen hero's sword. He remembers how much he loved this character. Memories of the game flash through his mind. The power of the blade surges through him. He steals his resolve, sword in hand. He spots a high vantage point nearby. Under the full moon, he makes his move. He stands atop the structure, overlooking the chaos. The wooden beam creaks under his feet. He questions if this is the right choice. The Wolfraken king senses a new presence. He takes a breath and jumps. The beast turns, revealing its weak point. He tightens his grip on the hilt. He leaps from the rooftop, blade aimed true. He plummets towards his target below. A diving strike from above the beast. With a furious roar, he attacks. The blade sinks deep into the monster's skull. The Wolfraken king lets out a piercing shriek. He drives the blade deeper into its neck. The beast thrashes, trying to throw him off. He holds on tight, cursing the monster. The beast's glowing eyes fixate on him. He screams back, defying the monster's power. Its golden eye narrows with pure hatred. The ground cracks under its powerful stomp. The king stumbles, weakened by the blow. He raises the sword for one more strike. A massive claw smashes through the wall. He is sent flying by the immense force. He lies broken among the wooden splinters. He questions if the wound was deep enough. The beast staggers, clutching its bleeding head, but its gaze is locked onto its target. Suddenly, a new challenger arrives. A red-haired swordsman crashes into the scene. He tells the beast this is not its territory. The newcomer leaps towards the Wolfraken king. His sword slices deep into the monster's chest. His face is a mask of pure fury. The beast swats him away with a single blow. Our boy watches the would-be savior fall. A new voice asks why he isn't running. The stranger tells him to live, to honor a promise. His fierce resolve fades into exhaustion. A memory surfaces of this man's death. He remembers being called a coward for fleeing. His friend had vowed to become stronger, so this tragedy would never happen again. But our boy is not his fallen friend, Hans. His bloody hand tightens on his sword, a spectral guardian rising behind him. He launches himself at the beast. He sees the monster as critically wounded. With glowing eyes, he tracks its every move. A golden arc of power follows his blade. He gathers energy for the final strike. He flips through the air, bringing his sword down. In a massive pillar of golden light, the beast's eyes widen in fury. The attack ends and he lands on one knee. He waits to see if the blow was enough. A fatal wound opens across its chest. A torrent of blood sprays from the gash. Splattered in gore, he lets out a wild laugh. He stands victorious over the dead monster. Sometime later, he's inside a building. He collapses onto a bed, utterly spent. He lies in bed, a nagging thought won't let him rest. Attacking the dungeon confirmed his theory. The events mirrored the game he once played. He's now inside the body of Hans, a normal villager. He's transmigrated into this game world. He sits up, realizing he has Cadiz's memories and skills. His hand tightens with newfound purpose. He tries to summon the game's status window. Only the chirping of birds answers him. He spends a few days gathering intel around the village. He confirms this world is just like the game. He knows this world should be full of heroes. He dons a mask, his first objective clear. His goal is to find the hero, Pavel's Kodvan. He's already tracked Pavel's to his room. He opens the door, surprising the man inside. It's him, Pavel's Kodvan, looking confused. The awkward encounter leaves him speechless. He offers a feast as an apology for the intrusion. Pavel's blushes but graciously accepts the offer. Soon, they are sharing a meal, and Pavel's digs in with gusto. Pavel's asks about his interest in a major monster hunt. But our boy deflects, his true interest is Pavel's. The hero's gaze sharpens, intrigued. Pavel's taps his fork, considering the proposition. He points out that everyone else left for the hunt. Our boy claims they're leaderless and walking to their deaths. Pavel smirks, assuming it's about the prize money. But our boy isn't interested in the reward. He's here to find a companion to defeat Antro. He approaches the counter to pay for his stay. A bag of gold coins clatters on the wood, shocking Pavels with his unexpected wealth. The hero prefers working alone but offers a condition. They journey into the treacherous, misty mountains. Our boy follows the hero into a dark forest. His goal isn't heroism, just assisting Pavels. All he wants is a safe place to survive. And Pavels is the key to that survival. He knows Pavels is a master of traps and strategy, an easy mode character from the games. He warns Pavels that the Antro monsters are close. Good luck, he says, putting his faith in the hero. A monstrous tree creature and Antro emerges. Our boy decides to sit back and watch the show. Pavels leaps into action, crossbow ready. His focus is absolute, his aim steady. A glowing bolt flies straight for the monster's eye. The shot hits its mark, a perfect strike. Pavels knows it will take 3 shots to win, but the monster shrugs off the initial attacks. Its glowing red eye fixes on the hunter. A massive tendril slams down, sending Pavels flying. He's annoyed about the cost of his next move. Our boy reveals the plan, an explosive stone. He knew Pavels would use this exact strategy. Pavels hurls the glowing gem to the ground. He takes aim, preparing to trigger the trap. A charged bolt shoots from his crossbow, striking the stone and splitting it in 2. The gem activates, glowing with immense power. Orbs of red energy fly into the monster. The creature reels from the internal impacts. A massive explosion engulfs the Antro. Our boy watches the fiery aftermath unfold. Through the smoke, the monster still stands. He's shocked, this was more than he expected. The Antro emerges, wounded but not defeated. Pavels reloads, his expression hardening. But then his eyes widen in disbelief. He stares, completely stunned by what he sees. His confidence shatters into pure terror. The monster grins, its wounds already healing. A colossal shadow falls over the hero. The rooftop observer watches the chaos unfold. He drops his popcorn, completely overwhelmed. He remembers another hero, Cadiz, who also died. He thought Pavels was flawless, but his weapon failed. This entire situation has become absurd. With the hero gone, nothing is going to plan. He realizes he has no choice but to fight. He dodges a sweeping attack from the Antro. Weaving through the tendrils, he sees a chance. But to guarantee victory, he needs 2 things. First, Pavels' bag with the stone of red flowers. He quickly scans the battlefield for his target. He narrowly avoids another crushing blow, staying just out of the monster's reach. And second, he needs Pavels' unique ability. The Antro raises its colossal fist to strike. Its glowing red eye locks onto its new prey. He dodges as the ground shatters beneath him. Tendrils whip through the air all around him. He stands his ground against the towering beast. The monster unleashes a powerful sonic scream. The force of the blast holds him back. He struggles to move forward against the pressure. He draws a second, smaller blade from its sheath. With 2 weapons ready, he prepares his counter. He unleashes Pavels' unique swordsmanship skill. His blade glows, tracing a golden arc. The attack slams into the monster's skull. The beast opens its massive maw to scream. He's witnessed this horrifying sight before. Its body contorts, tendrils flaring with rage. The key to victory is destroying the facial core. Most who face it are paralyzed by despair. But this time, he knows its secret. He knows exactly where to strike. The beast's many heads strike at once. His blade deflects the crushing assault. He sprints across the monster's writhing body. He knows its attack patterns from before. He must land a blow before its sonic attack. He surges forward, a blur of golden light. Leaping high, he aims for the creature's head. The blade sinks deep into the monster's eye. The blow connects, but the core is elsewhere. He rappels down the monster's face on a wire. He holds tight, preparing his next move. He spots his first target, Pavels' back. He snatches the bag of stones mid-swing. The monster's eyes glow with raw hatred. The true core on its chin begins to glow. The monster's core pulses with deadly energy. He gives the beast one final, defiant gesture. A devastating sonic blast erupts from its core. The monster's giant form begins to crumble. He clutches his side, the battle taking its toll. He recalls the skills of his fallen comrades. A shocking realization, he can absorb abilities. He walks alone, processing this new power. But he rejects the burden of being a hero. He turns his back on that unwanted destiny. The path to Malik Castle has a new obstacle. A mid-boss named Hamel blocks the way. Without Pavels, he needs a special tool to win. His search leads him to Calyx village. The quiet streets hide many secrets. He slips into the city's shadowy alleyways. He approaches a guard at a hidden door. The masked warrior looks up at the man. He speaks the secret password, Knell of Wisdom. The guard's smirk confirms he's in the right place. He descends into the darkness below the city. This is where he will find what he needs. He enters the underground broker's office, Owl Nest. He walks through the bustling black market. Surveying the scene, he prepares for his next move. A woman with purple eyes notices him. She offers to help, but he brushes her off. His cold response leaves her completely baffled. He knows this place is for desperate newcomers. He remembers a time when he was just as trapped. Now he sees someone else in a cage. He points, choosing her as his special tool. The girl looks up, her red eyes wide with fear. He leaves the underground market behind. They emerge at the Calyx village north gate. He lets out a heavy sigh under the open sky. He reflects on the slave he purchased. The girl follows, clearly uneasy around him. To him, she is just a temporary tool for his mission. Nothing more than a means to an end. A carriage approaches the village gate. It belongs to the Red Crocodile Teeth industry. Their attendant, Gerbier, carries a massive sword. The legendary Vermilion sword is unmistakable. He notes that Gerbier has grown stronger. The group enters the village with their cargo. He knows their history and their current objective. He turns to the girl, calling her Lemelin. She flinches, answering his call. He orders her to keep up, they're moving out. He leads her into the desolate wilderness. Her only job is to draw monster aggro. The wasteland is filled with watchful eyes. In other words, she's just bait. But he hopes it won't come to that. Night falls as they reach the ruins. He calls her name, startling her. The masked man beckons her forward. He holds out a small, glowing item. She steps forward, barefoot and vulnerable. A strange energy envelops her body. She stammers, trying to call him master. But something feels completely different. The filth and grime have vanished. It's a tool to mask their sense. A small moment of relief washes over her. He's taking no chances, haunted by past trauma. Under the light of the full moons, they venture deeper into the dead city. She hesitates, wanting to speak. But he's focused on the path ahead. He knows what he must believe in. Not people, but the cold, hard facts. He remembers the allies he lost to betrayal. Now he must prepare for anything. He's haunted by a memory of betrayal. The dead city waits under the moon. Inside, the undead turn on each other. A heavy blade crushes the weak. His former ally falls, overwhelmed and slain. The boss emerges, the martyr Hummel. His last companion wasn't strong enough. He concludes he must do this alone. He turns to the girl, calling her Lemelin. She asks if it's really time. His voice is cold, leaving no doubt. She trembles, terrified by his intensity. Her only instruction is to run to survive. He pays her for the dangerous task ahead. She's stunned by the amount of gold. She tells him the payment is too much. He hands her a special incense stick. It's designed to attract the monsters. He lights it, telling her to escape. She worries about her slave contract, but he reveals he already set her free. She stares at the torch, her path to freedom. He points her towards the city's exit. With tears in her eyes, she agrees. He leaps away, leaving her to run. Lemelin begins her desperate mission. She waves the torches to draw their attention. She calls out, baiting the undead horde. The martyr Hummel lets out a furious roar. He commands his skeletal army to attack. She turns and runs, the horde right behind her. The undead close in from all sides. He watches, confident she's too fast for them. He tosses a stone to create a diversion. Hummel turns, distracted by the sound. His focus shifts away from the girl. The masked man reveals a glowing red crystal. It detonates, taking out a key target. He's already thinned their numbers significantly. He notes only 3 soldiers remain. The final guards stand between him and the boss. Meanwhile, Lemelin sprints through the city. She pushes herself to her absolute limit. The chase continues through narrow alleyways. She follows his instructions to run north. She knows the skeletons can't leave the gate. The incense smoke trails, a beacon for the dead. The north gate is finally in sight. She crosses the boundary just in time. Tears of relief stream down her face. She's free. Lemelin watches as the skeletons stop at the gate. A shocking realization finally dawns on her. Her red stigma marked her as a disposable slave. She clutches the small pendant around her neck. She had accepted her fate as sacrificial bait. She collapses to the ground, utterly spent. The masked man actually kept his promise. For the first time in her life, she is free. Meanwhile, the masked man faces the final guards. He parries a clumsy strike from a skeleton. A swift punch shatters its grip on its sword. He recognizes the dagger of a fallen warrior, Pavel. He channels Pavel's superhuman throwing skill. The blade flies with impossible speed and accuracy. It finds its mark, piercing the skeleton's skull. The attack wasn't fatal, but that was the plan. All he needed was a single second of delay. Now only the boss, Hummel, remains. He leaps into the air with a massive greatsword. The blade cleaves the final guard in two. The heavy weapon feels impossibly light to him. He realizes he's absorbed another warrior's strength. A skeleton lunges from the shadows to attack. He spins and cuts it down without a thought. The minions are cleared from the board. The final boss, Hummel, rises to fight. Under the full moon, the true battle begins. Hummel swings a massive, crushing hammer, but the MC believes his new power is enough. He moves to intercept the devastating attack. The boss's weapon smashes down with incredible force. There's no time to dodge the blow. Steel meets steel in a blinding flash. The impact sends him flying backward, disarmed. He's completely overpowered by the boss's strength. He crashes hard against the stone floor. Hamel immediately presses his brutal advantage. He raises his shield for a desperate block. The shield shatters into 1,000 pieces. He's thrown back, taking cover behind rubble. His entire body trembles from the shock. He coughs up blood, his body failing. At this rate, he'll die before winning. His sword lies broken, the borrowed skills useless. He realizes his overconfidence was a fatal mistake. Relying on others' abilities was the wrong move. He removes his helmet, his body battered. He cracks his neck, shaking off the failure. It's time to return to his original plan. He charges forward, ready for the real fight. He sprints across the stone floor. Hamel prepares another crushing blow. The size difference is still overwhelming, but he's not fighting with strength anymore. His new strategy: take away the boss's balance. He hurls a small, explosive item. It lands perfectly between Hamel's feet. The blast shatters the ground beneath him. Without his footing, that strength is useless. He reveals another hidden weapon. It's a vial that shatters on impact. A corrosive liquid eats at the boss's hand. Hamel drops his hammer in pain. The undead knight glares at him. He taunts the boss, revealing a chain. He's swinging a chain soaked in holy water. A perfect weapon against an undead foe. The chain wraps tightly around Hamel's skull. He knows the weak point is the core in its head. If he can just break that core, the victory will be his. He raises a pawn-shaped weapon and drives it straight into the boss's head. The strike reveals a glowing blue core, but the skull is already regenerating. But he was prepared for this. He reveals a vial of holy water. He pours it directly onto the skull. The liquid shatters the exposed core. Hamel screams as his being dissolves. The boss's grip on his shield weakens. All of Hamel's defenses are useless now. He turns his back on the dying foe. It's time to end this for good. The holy water finishes its sacred work. Finally, the undead knight falls. Hamel's hand lies still on the stone, but victory brings only exhaustion. He thinks of the others fighting elsewhere. He slumps down, lost and drained. But then he senses a presence. A mysterious girl appears before him. Suddenly, the world around him changes. He's been transported to another realm. This seems to happen after every battle. His frustration turns to resolve. He tells the girl to remove her helmet. She reluctantly lifts it from her head. He's left wondering how this happened. The night sky watches over them. She stands silently in the ethereal, ruined realm. He demands to know why she's back. Suddenly, his old wounds tear open. The toll of the last battle finally hits him. Her eyes widen with concern. He needs healing. His gear lies discarded on the stone floor. She quickly kneels down to treat his injuries. Once bandaged, he pulls his cloak back on. He thanks her coldly and tells her to leave, but she just shakes her head, refusing. Hamel is completely baffled by her persistence. He offers her gold, assuming it's about payment. Again, she shakes her head with annoyance. He asks what else she could possibly want. She remains silent, only shaking her head. His patience finally runs out. He demands that she tell him what she wants. The world shifts again to sunlit ruins. Without a word, he turns and runs. He tries to leave her, but she follows. He even attempts to hide from her in a forest, but her determined gaze never leaves him. She grabs his cloak, refusing to let go. Defeated, he lets her stay by the campfire. As she sleeps, he's left with his questions. The sun rises on their long journey. They arrive at a sign for Alban Citadel. Their next destination is clear. Hamel knows she'll be a problem in the city. Right now, she's nothing but a burden. He turns, demanding an answer one last time. She stammers, wanting only to stay with him. He doesn't understand. He did nothing for her. But that, she explains, is the entire point. Unlike others, he never hurt her. And there's another, more desperate reason. She confesses she doesn't want to die. Alone in this world, her chances are zero. He scoffs, asking if he looks like a savior. His own body is battered and broken, but she knows she would die even faster alone. Hamel reminds her about the gold he gave her. She says people would just steal it from her. Her simple logic infuriates him. She just looks down, dejected. He can't be responsible for another life, but he realizes she's made a calculated choice. She is a piebald, a highly sought-after race. If he leaves her, she'll be enslaved again, and he has to admit she was useful as bait. He finally gives in to her pleas. He turns, not wanting to look at her. He sighs, tired of arguing. He gives her one simple condition. Her eyes well up with gratitude. She clutches the helmet, beaming with joy. They journey towards the city walls. As night falls, they arrive at Alban Citadel. The city's back alleys are grim and dangerous. Their destination, a local pharmacist. Inside, a customer demands their order. The pharmacist chides him for his impatience. She reminds him of the rare ingredient needed. She boasts she's the only one for the job. She teases her client, telling him to smile. Her words only enrage the cloaked man. He threatens her, his hand on his blade. A skeleton stands guard by the door. She watches him leave, completely unfazed. Just then, the door opens again. Hamel and Noah step into the shop. The pharmacist eyes the newcomers with suspicion. She begins to interrogate him. She asks why he needs potions. He asks what she makes of him. He asks if his identity really matters. The pharmacist dismisses his question. She turns away, getting back to business. Noah stares at the shop's grim decor. The pharmacist opens a wooden case. Inside, rows of red potions gleam. He requests 10, but she warns of the cost. He assures her he can afford them. She smirks, demanding 10 gold coins. Her eyes widen in complete surprise. He ups his order to 15 bottles. He's overpaying to earn her trust. He places the gold coins on the counter. It's a strategy to raise her affinity level. He tells Lemelin to hand over the item. Lemelin presents a bag to the pharmacist. Inside is a mound of white powder. She recognizes it as ashes of the dead. His plan is working faster than expected. She offers to craft something special with it, but making more will come at a price. He doesn't care, chugging a potion. A green aura flares around him. The taste is awful, but he feels the effects. He smirks, acknowledging its power. The pharmacist's gaze shifts to Lemelin. The girl's expression falls at the question. She smirks, declining the unspoken offer. Noah clarifies they've only just met. She speaks cryptically of fate's eternal bond. Later, they walk along the castle ramparts. They descend a winding stone staircase. Reaching the top, they survey the vast landscape. Lemelin is captivated by the beautiful view. He reveals a monster army arrives next week. Her peaceful expression turns to shock. He recalls the hero who once protected this land. But with the hero gone, this place is vulnerable. His eyes burn with a hidden purpose. He's here to witness their desperate defense. As night falls, they head into the city streets. Their destination, a bustling local tavern. Inside, a bounty hunter boasts loudly to the crowd. He claims to have captured a witch's minion, but another hunter scoffs at the very idea. The argument quickly escalates into a challenge. Noah watches the pathetic display, unimpressed. Suddenly, a mug slams onto a table. A hooded figure tells the loudmouths to shut up. The hunter turns, hurling an insult at the man. The hooded figure shoves the hunter aside. He tells him he's noisy before landing a punch. He draws his weapon, ready for a real fight. Elsewhere, a young girl questions her master. She worries they've been waiting for days. He dismisses her concerns, citing a reason. He simply tells her to sit down and eat. She's stunned, saying slaves aren't allowed. He just repeats the firm command to eat. Her face lights up with pure gratitude. She happily digs into the offered meal. His thoughts reveal the true stakes: elite knight spirits. Their commander is the noob killer Radok Shultine. If they take this citadel, it's game over. He knows he must protect this place. The heroes meant to stop this threat are all dead. He glances at the brawl, utterly disgusted. The pathetic tavern fight rages on. He has to defend this place with them. He admits he has no choice, having given up on heroes. Another brutal punch lands in the background. He'll focus on finding items instead of saviors. A stray mug flies right at his head. His companion screams, fearing for his life. But his eyes ignite with golden energy. He was getting bored. He worries his companion thinks he's a slacker. He interrupts a brawler with a simple tap. The man turns, caught completely off guard. He's flipped effortlessly through the air. A single brutal punch connects with his jaw. The entire tavern watches as the man falls. He reflects on his own quest for strength. This pathetic fight wasn't even a warm-up. The red-haired man demands to know who he is. He recognizes the masked man from Aram village. A memory flashes behind the mask's cold gaze. A question echoes from a dark, bloody night. A young boy asks if they are truly strong. His own terrified face answers, no. They only survived that monster through sheer luck. A blinding light had saved them from annihilation. Back in the present, he dismisses the painful memory. He explains his body remembers, even if he doesn't. He tells his companion, Lemelin, it's time to leave. They walk out, leaving the stunned man behind. Lemelin glances back with a worried look. For a moment, her face changes into another's. The red-haired man gasps the name Aline, but he knows that girl is already dead. The scene shifts to a new destination, the armory. In the armory, he asks if she can use a sword. Lemelin hesitantly admits she knows a little. He asks if she's any good, but she says no. He moves on to bows, but she's never used one. He bluntly states that she knows nothing. She apologizes, but he reassures her it's fine. He explains knowing nothing is better than being mediocre. His eyes scan the wall of weapons. and he pulls a small crossbow from the rack. He tosses the weapon over to Lemelin. She protests, having never used one before. A confident, almost cruel smirk crosses his face. He turns back with a knowing look. He tells her she'll learn the hard way. The narration reveals her race, the piebald. She takes aim, her expression now focused. They have a combat instinct, learning 100 times faster. A bolt strikes true with a flash of power. Lemelin beams, thrilled with her own talent. Normally, this skill would take weeks to learn. He's stunned she mastered it in hours, confirming she's a piebald. He considers the one downside to her ability. Her skill doesn't compare to a man named Pavel. Pavel's ability allowed him to hit any target, guaranteed. A memory of Pavel gives a confident thumbs up. He calls out to Lemelin, his training session over. He's been preparing something for her. He grabs a bundle from the ground. He tells her to change into the new clothes. She can't look like a slave for the event. She has a major role to play in his plan. The day of the operation has finally arrived. After a week of preparation, the enemy is here. Lemelin, now geared up, is ready to move. They grab their equipment and head out. In the Banta Black Ring, there is no luck. Only strength earned through effort matters here. Lemelin carries a heavy pack, her face set. She asks if he's worried, but he denies it. His confidence comes from relentless training. On the fortress walls, guards stand watch. A bell rings out, a call to arms. Soldiers rush to their battle stations. Archers line the ramparts, arrows nocked. A commander rallies his troops for the battle. The men are eager, tired of waiting. A scarred warrior smirks, ready for the fight. A red-haired man spots them in the crowd. He seems to have a mission involving them. An army of darkness gathers under the moon. The enemy's tattered banners fly in the dark. A commander rallies the dark army against the invaders. He calls the defenders savages for daring to resist. He dares them to take the glorious citadel. On the walls, a masked archer speaks of divine punishment. The enemy commander falls silent, listening. The archer's aura flares, a spirit at his back. He declares that if he can see his target, he can land the ultimate shot. A blinding arrow of light streaks across the battlefield. It strikes the commander, who dissolves into dust. The red-haired man and his group are speechless. Even the fortress guards are stunned by the display. Lemelin anxiously calls out for her master. He stands on the rampart, looking down. He turns to her and simply asks, "What?" The enemy's dark energy begins to scatter. The dark army stares up at the fortress wall. Their new leader seethes with rage. The fortress soldiers erupt in a massive cheer. The red-haired man's crew sees an opening. He knows the shot's power was a bluff. He tells Lemelin it's time for them to move. The real plan is about to begin. Suddenly, a vortex of fire erupts nearby. Lemelin watches the new chaos unfold. Her eyes widen in sudden alarm. As they move, the guards stare after them. A meteor of pure flame plummets down. It smashes into the wall in a fiery explosion. The enemy mages are unleashing their assault. The red-haired man shields his eyes from the debris. Dark soldiers now swarm the inner courtyard. The fortress wall has been breached. A commander screams for his men to fight. They're ordered to target the enemy casters. A mercenary grins, ready for the payday. But another screams in terror, sure of his death. He leaps from the wall, trying to escape. His companion scoffs at the cowardice. But our boy knows running won't guarantee survival. His crew asks if they can survive this. He tells them there's no chance, unless perhaps a hero shows up. More meteors rain down, destroying everything. A dark knight moves in for the kill. The defender is cut down without mercy. The knight raises its blood-soaked blade. Suddenly, the grinning mercenary joins the fray, driving his spear through an enemy's back. The spearman gasps, a near-death experience. He was a proud mercenary, but these foes are different. He scans the chaos, worried for his crew. Elsewhere, another dark knight slaughters a defender, but a bald soldier rallies the remaining men. He screams that their families are at stake. He charges forward, sword blazing with power, and his blade connects with the enemy's armor. But a shadowy figure mocks his single kill. The soldier looks up, frozen in shock. A massive scythe arcs through the air, cutting him down in a single, brutal motion. The hooded knight declares all invaders must die. Its glowing mask promises only execution. The spearman watches, realizing they are doomed. A whip of dark energy lashes out, ensnaring his spear and pulling him forward. The knight raises its blade for the final blow. He knows this is the end. Suddenly, a rider on horseback leaps into the fray. The dark horseman charges at impossible speed. The mercenary can only stare in disbelief. The newcomer's armor glows with a holy light. He smashes his weapon into the dark knight, sending the creature flying from the impact. The dark knight slams into the ground, stunned. The rider checks on the mercenary he just saved. The masked rider seems satisfied with the answer. He tells the man to order a full retreat. He tells his companion, Lemelin, it's time to move. But the mercenary realizes where they're headed. They're charging straight for the enemy commander. A wall of enemy spears rises to meet them. He tells Lemelin they're about to break through. Their warhorse soars over the enemy line. He has no time to waste on foot soldiers. He's going straight for the final boss. The mercenary watches this suicidal charge in awe. The lone horseman blazes a path forward. Dark cavalry rises to meet his charge. He's facing an army of elite vengeful spirits, but their rigid formation is a fatal weakness. He uses a legendary horsemanship style. Combined with masterful spear techniques, he becomes a whirlwind of golden light, carving a path straight through their ranks. The enemy commander watches, amused by the display. He raises his weapon, issuing a challenge. Dark, binding tendrils erupt from his body. The energy ensnares everyone, friend and foe alike. The commander's power surges, freezing the battlefield, but the dark energy parts around the lone rider. Lemelin realizes a path has been cleared just for them. The enemy commander has created a dueling ground. He tells Lemelin to get off the horse. He assures her the frozen soldiers are no threat. She dismounts, leaving him to face the challenge alone. The commander asks if he truly came by himself. The rider simply replies that he is not alone. The commander demands to know his purpose. Suddenly, the eyes of the frozen soldiers ignite. The entire army turns, trapping them in a circle. Lemelin begins to panic, seeing the trap close, but her master simply tells her to be quiet. He throws a small banner onto the ground. It lands directly at the enemy commander's feet. The commander and his lieutenant look down at the object. The lieutenant's glowing eyes snap back up. He kneels, pointing out the symbol on the cloth. The commander recognizes a knight's family crest. Our boy confirms that he is a knight. He has issued a formal challenge, a duel of honor. The commander, Radok, is a knight who values honor above all. Radok seems amused by this old-fashioned custom, but the MC knows the crest is a complete fake. Our boy appeals to Radok's famous honor. He formally challenges the commander to a duel. A heavy silence hangs in the air. The lone rider faces an entire undead army. Lemelin is completely frozen in disbelief. He waits, wondering if the commander will refuse. For a moment, he considers running for his life. But Radok is amused by this talk of honor. He gestures towards Lemelin, asking her role. She flinches at being singled out. The rider confirms she is his attendant. Radok names her the official witness to their duel. Lemelin realizes she's now part of the ritual. Our boy knows this guarantees her safety. Radok accepts the challenge, raising his weapon. His demonic steed snorts plumes of dark energy. The commander prepares to charge his opponent. He announces his full name and title. The rider finally reveals his name, Evan. Radok declares their duel will be legendary. Evan orders Lemelin to stay back. She can only whisper for him to be careful. With a final cry, the duel begins. Evan recalls his past boss fights. Everyone followed their original game patterns. He's beaten countless bosses with predictable moves. He believes Radok will be no different. There is no reason to hold back. He decides to meet the commander head-on. Radok is impressed by his opponent's courage. He promises to match that courage with strength. The undead commander enters a battle stance. His entire posture has shifted. Evan immediately notices the change. Under the full moon, the air grows heavy. Lemelin watches from a safe distance. She senses a dangerous shift in the atmosphere. Evan grips his lance, bracing himself. Radok has entered Berserk mode too soon. The commander is now glowing with red power. The plan is still simple, kill the horse. But can he survive a Berserker's assault? Radok taunts him for his hesitation. He decides to make the first move. His demonic steed's eyes burn with malice. He charges forward in a blur of dark energy. The massive poleaxe cuts through the air. Evan parries, knowing the attack pattern. To use his skill, he must first take a hit. Radok prepares a final, honorable blow. Radok's eyes burn with crimson fury. Evan braces for the Berserker's final blow. The two forces collide in a flash of light. Evan struggles to channel the immense energy. The commander's aura is an overwhelming torrent. For a moment, Radok seems to lose his balance. Evan thinks he sees an opening, but the demonic steed instantly corrects its rider. His horsemanship is far beyond what Evan expected. Radok laughs, mocking his opponent's surprise. The taunts are clearly meant to provoke him. The battlefield trembles from their power. Evan desperately parries another brutal swing. The commander seems to be enjoying this. Evan is being pushed to his absolute limit. He knows he can't win by just defending. Radok gives him no time to think. Dark energy crackles around Evan's arm. The demonic horse charges forward once more. A faint smirk appears on Evan's face. He summons his own horse, meeting the charge. Now they are on equal footings. Radok leaps into the air for a devastating attack. Evan knows this next blow is serious. The commander roars, ready to end it all. Evan meets the commander's charge head-on. Their spectral steeds collide in midair. Raydock scoffs, declaring the attack useless. Evan unleashes a powerful golden strike, an ability that grows against aggressive foes. His power surges, matching the commander's. He plans to end this with a single blow. He shouts that his attack is unavoidable, yet Raydock blocks it without even flinching. Because Evan's true target was never him. The attack was aimed at the demonic steed. A massive explosion engulfs the commander's mount. He successfully sealed the commander's mobility. The hero Cadiz's skills are incredibly powerful, but they drain an immense amount of stamina. Even with a power-up, the cost is high. His body is already screaming in protest. Raydock seems almost impressed by the move. It's been ages since anyone unhorsed him, but he declares that the fight ends here. His demonic steed dissolves into pure power and forges a new, terrifying blade. A new figure watches the duel from afar. She walks forward, intending to intervene. Her expression is one of grim determination. A mysterious figure steps onto the battlefield. He asks the white-haired girl for the situation. She says her master believed he could win. The stranger points out that he's clearly losing. She was ordered not to interfere, to stay still. He scoffs, telling her to make her own choice. Because if her master dies, it's all over. Back in the fight, Raydock readies for round 2. Evan is unarmed, with no time to recover. He remembers the game's convenient item box, but in reality, carrying gear has a cost. Desperate, he screams for his companion, Lemelin. She frantically searches her pack for a sword. The commander mocks him, saying it's too bad. He lunges forward in a blur of dark energy. The stranger scolds Lemelin for her hesitation. He shouts out to Iron Helmets. He hurls a weapon, repaying a past debt. Just as Raydock's killing blow descends, Evan catches the handle just in time. He swings the massive golden polearm and parries the commander's demonic blade. Raydock roars for more, but Evan feels the power gap. The brutal impact sends him flying backward. The moon watches over the desperate struggle. The stranger watches Lemelin from the side. She resolves to finally be useful to her master. Back in the fight, Evan clashes with Raydock. The commander mocks his sloppy, desperate moves. Evan barely blocks, vowing to make him pay. He struggles to endure the overwhelming pressure. All his training has led to this moment. Raydock acknowledges his opponent's fighting spirit. The Dark Knight readies his glowing red blade. Evan sees an opening as the stance changes. He channels a golden aura into his sword. Their blades meet in a blinding flash of light. The impact sends his sword flying away. Evan curses, disarmed yet again. Raydock admits he misjudged the young knight. He claims to have analyzed all his patterns. The commander raises his sword for the final blow. He surges forward in a blur of dark energy, closing the distance in a single instant. But Evan reaches for one last hidden item. He pulls out a glowing, faceted red gem. He charges, declaring he won't play fair. He hurls the stone at the dark commander. Raydock's eyes widen, recognizing the crimson stone. Evan shouts for Lemelin as a new power activates. Lemelin races forward, vowing not to be late this time. The crimson stone detonates in a massive explosion. Smoke and embers rise against the moonlit sky. Raydock's voice cuts through the haze, unimpressed. He emerges from the blast, mocking the pathetic attack. But Evan reveals his next prepared weapon, a trident. The commander scoffs at the useless tool, feeling insulted. Evan stands in new armor, holding a net and trident. The two warriors face off across the battlefield. Raydock mocks the so-called knight's dishonorable gear. Evan knows his opponent is underestimating him. He lets the commander's misunderstanding grow. He asks if knights are only supposed to use swords. Raydock roars that no true knight would use a net. Evan questions if knighthood is just looking down on others. The dark commander is stunned into silence. Our boy taunts him not to cry for his men later. Pushed too far, Raydock's dark aura explodes. He bellows at his soldiers not to interrupt his fight. This is a direct order from Raydock Schulteen. His elite guard moves to obey the command. They drive their swords into the ground in unison. A wall of blades now seals off the dueling arena. Evan's allies watch, confused by this strange development. From under his hood, Evan smirks. The trap is sprung. Raydock's dark power surges through his gauntlet. The commander's aura explodes with killing intent. Evan admits he couldn't win a straight fight. Not if this were his first time facing him. But this time he came prepared. He soars through the air, net held high. The golden net unfurls in a wide arc, descending upon the dark commander. Raydock scoffs, calling the attack worthless. His dark blade swings to shred the ropes. But this net is made of special material. It wraps around him, completely trapping him. The commander realizes it's soaked in holy water. Evan confirms he added silver to the mix. Raydock calls him a coward for the dirty trick. Evan removes his helmet, his face revealed. He smirks, declaring his will to survive. Now unmasked, he tells Raydock it's his turn. An ally watches in shock, recognizing Hans. Hans stands alone against his trapped foe. He reflects that the hard part is over. Now all that's left is the easy part. A silver spear and holy water are rare items. But he's different, using his past rewards. He slowly approaches the immobilized commander. He draws on the memories of fallen heroes. Each step forward is part of a grander plan. He didn't come here without preparations. His strategy is born from ancient combat. The Rishi area style, a net and a trident. A perfect counter for an unsuspecting knight. He lunges, spear aimed at his trapped foe. Raydok admits the net was a clever move. The holy water and silver exploit his weakness, but he notices Evan's spear style is different. The commander can't understand how it's possible. A confident smirk crosses Evan's face. Suddenly, a second net appears in the sky. Evan asks if he really thought one was enough. Panic sets in, Raydok knows he must escape. He begins to power his way out of the trap. His dark blade shreds the holy ropes, but Evan simply denies his escape. As he breaks free, the second net descends. He's caught again, completely outmaneuvered. Evan reminds him this isn't their first fight. The commander's mind races, trying to understand. He realizes Evan forced this one-on-one duel, using the perfect weapons to counter him. Raydok refuses to believe it's anything but luck. Raydok realizes this was all just a taunt. Evan asks why he doesn't just give up. The silver trident glows, aimed for the kill. The commander demands a fair sword fight. Evan knows his own stamina is running low. He has one last chance to end this now. He waits for the perfect moment of pure rage. Raydok shatters the net with a dark slash, roaring that Evan has made a fatal mistake. But Evan calmly says, "I told you. This isn't our first time fighting." The commander shouts in disbelief. He insists they have never met before. A torrent of dark energy erupts toward Evan, but our boy stands his ground, unflinching. He plants his feet, ready for the final move. He activates the Cadiz Silver Moon Spear. It's time to put everything on the lines. He unleashes a blinding spear of light. The holy power tears through the darkness. A pillar of light pierces the heavens. On the ground, his soldiers disintegrate. The remaining knights watch in stunned silence. A final gasp echoes from within the light. The Alban Citadel event is finally over. He reveals the reward for defeating Raydok. A powerful artifact materializes in his hand. He knows this will be useful for the dark future. Suddenly, a red-haired man appears, shouting hands. The white-haired girl lies on the ground, stunned. She watches the two men from a distance. The red-haired man screams his friend's name again. He approaches Evan with a grim expression. He grabs our boy, demanding to know what happened. He furiously asks why someone like him is here. But Evan calmly states, "I am not Hans." The man scoffs, refusing to be played for a fool. He insists there's no way he wouldn't recognize him. Evan knows he'll never believe the truth. Besides, explaining everything is just a hassle. Before the man can react, Evan strikes. The white-haired girl watches in total shock. Evan turns to her, saying it's time to leave. He tells her she can stay behind if she wants. She immediately panics at the thought. She begs him not to abandon her here. Evan knows he has to leave this place quickly. Defeating Raydok alone has put a target on his back. They walk away, leaving the man unconscious. The fires of battle burn under the pale moon. The red-haired man staggers to his feet. He walks through the burning, corpse-strewn streets. His eyes burn with a desperate need for answers. He couldn't find Hans's body among the dead. He clutches his wounded arm, pushing through the pain. He needs to know what happened to his friend. The search for Hans begins now. His journey took him through dangerous forests. He faces down another monster unimpressed. His blade cuts through the beast with ease. He shows a drawing of Hans to everyone he meets. He saved countless people along the way, but he always just missed his target. He even commanded armies of the dead. His search became his one lingering regret. It twisted into a desperate obsession. All because Hans was his friend. And then he finally saw him, only to be knocked out cold. Back in the present, the forest is watching. Evan sits by the fire, preparing something. The girl asks what he's doing. He drops a strange leaf into the flames. It's a special medicinal herb. Burning it will keep them safe for hours. Evan hands her one of the special leaves. The campfire crackles against the darkness. She sits in silence, staring at the ground. Finally, she breaks the quiet, calling him master. She asks him who he truly is. He claims to be just an ordinary wanderer. He remembers telling the girl, Lemelin, to be quiet. Suddenly, Evan senses a new presence. Armored boots land silently in the woods. Lemelin looks up, sensing the danger. Evan already knows they're surrounded. Knights emerge from the trees, blocking their path. Lemelin draws her dagger, ready to fight. Their leader steps forward, calling out his name. Evan doesn't turn, asking who they are. He's the commander of Pistan's 5th Knighthood. He introduces himself as Albergito Kelvin. Evan asks what business they have with him. Kelvin extends a polite invitation to join them, but he refuses to say why. Evan's gaze hardens. What if he refuses? The commander's hand tightens on his sword. Evan relents with a sigh of annoyance. Kelvin smiles, thanking him for cooperating. But Evan sees the truth, a man hiding behind orders. Internally, Evan scoffs at these so-called knights. For a split second, he considers fighting back. His eyes flare with a dangerous golden light. He could strike down the commander first, then use Cadiz's sword skill on the next. He'd rush them before they could react. His mind races through the possibilities. He visualizes the entire battle unfolding. But he knows he can't use Cadiz's full power yet. The moment passes and he stands down. Kelvin smirks, asking if he plans to resist. Evan plays dumb, feigning total compliance. He assures them there won't be any trouble. Lemelin is confused, but Evan had a plan all along. He lightly bonks her on the head with his scabbard. He tells her to grab their things and follow. Kelvin offers a carriage, his smile unwavering. The commander lets out a hollow laugh. But his eyes narrow, he felt that killing intent. He remembers the shift when Evan grabbed his sword. The boy's entire stance had changed in an instant. Now Kelvin watches him walk away, suspicious. He knows a warrior's stride when he sees one. But to master multiple weapons is impossible. He dismisses it unless Evan is a true genius. The royal carriage journeys into the misty woods. Inside, Evan asks why Lemelin is so afraid. She clings to his arm, terrified of the men. Her fear is palpable, her eyes squeezed shut. He realizes her fear isn't of men but soldiers. Evan recalls finding her in a slave market cage. She was never this terrified back at the castle. The memory of her capture by soldiers resurfaces. He understands and decides to let her be. They travel through the night under a full moon. Evan reveals they have a stop before their destination. He glances at the knights riding alongside them. With a cold smirk, he dismisses their fatigue. He closes his eyes to rest, Lemelin on his shoulder. She appears to be sleeping peacefully beside him, but her eyes snap open, glowing a deep red. She thinks about how strange Evan is. He's always harsh and tries to leave her behind. Yet she can't help but smile warmly. He always protects her and takes care of her. Evan sleeps on, oblivious to her thoughts. She feels completely at peace by his side, but she clutches a hidden, glowing necklace. She fears he would hate her if he knew the truth. A dark power emanates from the blue gem. The morning sun breaks through the trees. Evan wakes, still feeling the strain. The battle with Radok took its toll. He can't fully access the hero's skills. He's just mashing their powers together. The imperfect combination strains his body. He must find a way to harmonize them. That's why they're going to Poxel village. He signals one of the knights. Evan warns him not to enter the village. He claims a plague has broken out. The knight commander is taken aback, but the commander insists they must enter. Evan questions his sanity, but the knight is confident. They are righteous knights who help the weak. A wicked smirk spreads across Evan's face. The company rides toward the village gates. Villagers cry out as the knights arrive. The desperate people beg for salvation. The commander orders his men to help. Evan casually steps out of the carriage. He asks for permission to look around. The commander warns him of nearby monsters. But Evan knows the monsters aren't the real problem. He tells Lemelin to prepare their equipment. Evan identifies the plague as green moss disease. It's a flesh-eating plague that covers the skin. Without treatment, it's a slow, agonizing death. They walk through the desolate village streets. A woman approaches, pleading for water. Her child is dying of thirst, she cries. He turns his back, seemingly ignoring her. Lemelin watches the suffering, clearly conflicted. She calls out to her master, uncertain. Evan scoffs, annoyed by the display. His hand tightens on his weapon. Lemelin's eyes widen in alarm. He draws a blade, ordering them back. His warning is cold, don't come any closer. The woman recoils in terror, begging for mercy. He orders Lemelin to get the water. She beams, thinking he's truly considerate. She quickly retrieves the water skin. He takes it, his expression unchanged. He tosses the water to the woman. His words are harsh, take it and get lost. The grateful woman thanks Lemelin instead. Evan deadpans, realizing why he got snubbed. He warns Lemelin the plague spreads by touch. The danger is real, she must avoid everyone. Lemelin beams, thinking it's an easy rule to follow. He questions her, asking if she truly understands. He knows there's no logical reason to help them, but forcing her would only break her spirit. He settles on a different punishment, cutting her salary. His final warning is cold, get infected and you're abandoned. He tries to recall a special event from the game, but the memory is fuzzy, so he dismisses it. He sits on the edge of the village well. Lemelin approaches, thanking him for his kindness. He scoffs, saying it was just to quiet the villagers. He knows she sees her own past and their suffering, but to travel with him, she must make a vow. She must never help anyone without his permission. As she agrees, the well cover beneath her shatters. She screams, plummeting into the darkness. Evan calmly leaps in right after her. They land in a flooded chamber, as expected. His eyes are sharp, this was his plan all along. The hidden passage is exactly as he remembers. He looks down the torchlit sewer corridor. Lemelin is terrified, asking where they are. He dons a mask, explaining this is the plague's source. In the shadows, a monstrous creature stirs. As a beast lunges, he warns her she could die here. His blade flashes, striking the first beast. Lemelin watches, her stomach churning. The infected creatures are everywhere. But she steels herself, nodding with resolve. He hands her a dagger, a new test. He reminds her she already knows the basics. She stammers, preferring her crossbow, but he insists she must learn to fight up close. To survive, she needs all kinds of experience. She chose this path, now she must endure it. A swarm of glowing red eyes emerges from the dark. The horde of plague rats charges toward them. They surge forward, a tide of claws and teeth. Evan meets them head-on, sword ready. A beast leaps, aiming for his throat. His blade glows with a sickly green energy. He carves through the pack with brutal efficiency. He expects her to handle at least one on her own. But Lemelin is frozen in pure terror. She flails wildly, completely panicked. Evan scoffs, killing the rat she couldn't face. He recalls her first battle where she fought well. But fighting up close is a different kind of horror. You can feel the enemy's breath on your skin. The terror of a blade tearing into flesh. All her feelings coalesce into pure panic. She's haunted by her first fight with the wolficorn. The memory of that terrifying beast looms over her. Evan sees she has spirit but lacks real experience. He resolves to make her a self-sufficient warrior. He tells her to grab a stick from her bag. She nervously fumbles through her pack. She pulls out a wooden staff, questioning him. He orders her to slam it against the wall. The staff erupts into a brilliant flame. She stares in shock at the sudden torch. It's a torch of Lachma, a valuable item. The light makes the plague rat hesitate. Evan's command is simple, kill it now. She knows she can't hesitate any longer. She remembers what her master always does. Her eyes snap open, filled with new resolve. She lunges forward, dagger and torch ready. Her blade finds its mark, swift and true. The creature dissolves into green mist. Evan watches from the shadows, observing. A small, triumphant breath escapes her. They continue deeper into the stone corridor. She keeps a running tally of her kills. He watches as she faces the next wave alone. Evan recognizes this place instantly. He traces the familiar stone walls. A new plan forms in his mind. He decides to go straight for the boss. He pulls out two strange, crimson gems. He lets them fall to the ground. He calls out her name, Lemelin. His command is a sharp warning, duck. The gems on the floor begin to pulse. She watches in absolute terror. A fiery explosion rips through the corridor. It blasts a new path through the wall. Evan used her pack as a shield. The shock nearly sends her soul flying. He tells her to get up and follow. She notices the rats here are different. They're smaller but far more numerous. He turns to check on her condition. She complains about her heavy pack. He wasn't talking about the weight. She insists the foul stench is bearable. Deep inside, the boss monster waits. Evan knows he could end this quickly, but one shot would trigger the entire swarm. He needs a different approach, asking for the bag. He reveals a quiver of explosive arrows. This was a favorite tactic of the hero Pavel. She questions if the heavy arrows can be aimed. Evan turns, questioning her doubt. He tells her to watch closely and learn. His first shot is aimed at 1 o'clock. Pavel's sure-hit skill guarantees a perfect shot. The real challenge isn't accuracy, but placement. It detonates, blasting a hole in the ground. She stares in awe as Evan calls her name. He hands her the next explosive arrowhead. He takes aim for the 3 o'clock position. A single rat looks up, sensing danger. The creature is engulfed in a fiery blast. He reveals the rat's predictable escape routes. As predicted, the swarm moves to 5 o'clock. Another perfect shot, another fiery detonation. He calls out his shots, one after another. He rattles off targets, a storm of explosions. The blasts systematically collapse their tunnels. Now only one last arrow remains. It flies toward the massive, trapped swarm. The arrow pierces the boss monster's head. The final blast consumes the entire rat swarm. The Plague Lord, the boss, is finally defeated. The girl stumbles back, completely stunned. But from the chasm, something begins to rise. The Plague Lord Kyrt is not yet dead. It glares across the battlefield at its foe. Evan taunts the beast, ready for the next phase. The monster lets out a furious, pained roar. Its rage echoes through the collapsed tunnels. But then it senses something is wrong. Evan stands calmly, watching from the ledge. He mocks the creature's pathetic state. Without its swarm, the boss is powerless. Kyrt can only snarl in helpless fury. The boss reveals this is a special hidden dungeon. It came straight from the Alban Citadel for this. Evan knows he can't kill Kyrt on his own, But that doesn't mean it's impossible. He reveals an artifact from that very same citadel. He can summon a powerful being to fight for him. He calls out the name Raydok Schultine. The artifact erupts with a sinister red light. Dark energy swirls, forming a summoning port. A new warrior emerges from the swirling chaos. The summoned knight demands to know who dares. He seems disoriented, his power flickering. Evan, unmasked, realizes the summon's invincibility is gone. Kyrt the Plague Lord lunges at the summoned knight. Raydok is slammed back against the cavern wall. The knight recovers, enraged at the damn rat. He unleashes a powerful crimson energy attack. From above, Evan orders him to go all out. Raydok turns, furious at the command. Evan asks how he dares speak to his future master. The knight scoffs at the idea of serving a human, but Evan reveals the summoning artifact is now his. Raydok refuses to acknowledge Evan's underhanded tactics. He charges forward, ignoring the boy's claim. Evan knew he'd have to prove his worth as a master. Kyrt attacks again as Raydok threatens Evan. Evan dangles the necklace, threatening to abandon him. The jewel is Raydok's life vessel, a lifeline in a shackle. The knight freezes, finally understanding the stakes. Evan gives him two simple choices: kill the rat and serve him, or be left to rot. Raydok lashes out, refusing to accept the ultimatum. He clashes with the Plague Lord in a storm of dust. Evan clarifies that he's just a normal human. Seeing his defiance, Evan decides to leave. Raydok panics, begging him to wait. Evan pauses, his bluff having worked perfectly. The knight promises to kill the rat, then they can talk. Evan scoffs at the knight's arrogance. He decides Raydok needs to be punished. He hurls a strange crystal into the fight. It shatters, releasing a cloud of green energy. The mist envelops the Plague Lord, Kyrt. Raydok demands to know what Evan has done. The stone has a strengthening effect. Kyrt's red eye glows with newfound power. It excites plague monsters, driving them wild. The beast smashes the ground in a rage. A shockwave sends Raydok staggering back. From the cracks, a swarm of rats emerges. Surrounded, Raydok ignites his sword with golden fire. He prepares to cut through the horde. A single sweeping arc clears the vermin. He turns his attention back to the true threat. The knight stands ready, Raydok Schultine. Once one of the most honorable knights, but in this world, honor is a weakness. He clashes again with the empowered beast. The two stand apart after a brutal exchange. Evan reveals his true, cruel intention. He plans to completely strip Raydok of his honor. Suddenly, a mysterious hooded figure appears. He tells the knight he seems to be struggling. The hooded man leaps down from the cliffside. He lands gracefully between the two combatants. The stranger calmly asks if Raydok needs help. Raydok's pride flares, he can handle this alone. The man taunts him, telling him to try his best. Raydok is furious at the interruption, but the Plague Lord Kyrt lunges forward. It roars, swinging a plague-infested arm. The stranger dodges as the ground shatters. Raydok ignores them both, unleashing his own power. His eyes burn with focus behind his helmet. He brings his golden sword down in a massive slash. The holy blade severs the monster's arm. Kyrt howls in pain, staggering from the blow. Raydok lands, confident in his overwhelming strength. The observer is surprised by his raw power, but he knows Kyrt is a hidden boss for a reason. Raydok stands over the seemingly defeated beast. He realizes the monster can recover from this. Rats swarm the wound, regenerating the flesh. Raydok vows to slaughter it until it stays dead. His golden aura explodes with righteous fury. The hooded figure knows this strategy is wrong. He explains Kyrt's raiding pattern is simple, but it's impossible to clear without knowing the gimmick. Kyrt uses its minions for endless regeneration. But Raydok's own power is a double-edged sword. His unique trait is called persistence. It grants him invincibility at critical stamina levels. He remembers fighting this monster before, a beast that completely overwhelmed him. It slammed him into the ground again and again. He was brought to his knees, utterly defeated. But his trait can be used repeatedly after recovery. Suddenly, the stranger moves with blinding speed. He intercepts Raydok's attack, blocking the blade meant for the Plague Lord. The deflected holy power erupts in flames. Raydok demands an explanation for the interference. The stranger reveals Kyrt's trait is on cooldown. Now the monster is truly vulnerable. It roars, desperate to regain the advantage. The masked man calmly assesses the situation. He meets the beast's next attack with ease. Kyrt's red eyes glow with fury. The stranger holds his ground against the blow. He sees the monster is just stalling for time. Kyrt swings wildly, trying to recover. The stranger's golden aura explodes. He unleashes a massive wave of energy. He descends, ready to end this fight. His eyes glow from within the mask. His golden blade slices through the monster, the holy energy tearing into its flesh, cleaving the Plague Lord completely in two. The dust settles on a silent battlefield. He retrieves a glowing crystal from the corpse. Raydok, stunned, asks how it was possible. but the stranger calls him a disappointment. He banishes Radok for his utter failure. A dark power consumes the defeated knight. He thinks Radok now understands his place. On a cliff, a girl celebrates his victory. He unmasks, calling for his companion Lemelin. She immediately leaps down from the cliff. He watches her clumsy descent, confused. She lands with a heavy, awkward thud. He questions her very strange methods. He tells her to follow, their work isn't done. They venture into a desolate, rocky canyon. The landscape is dotted with strange poles. Our boy announces he's found their target. They've reached the trials of Banta Black Ring, a place destroyed by pure human malice. The ground is littered with dead creatures. He explains the plague's source was the water. He prepares to drive a stake into the ground. A plague rat had settled in the waterway, poisoning it. The villagers drank the tainted water and fell ill. He ties a red stone to the rope he set up. Lemelin questions his plan. He calls it a cleanup. He explains the two stones, one magic, one sacred. The fire stone will unblock the corpse-filled vein, and the sacred stone will purify the flowing water. Lemelin is stunned by the scope of his plan. She remembers thinking he didn't care for the villagers, but she realizes he was solving the root problem. Eagerly, she offers to help, but he shuts her down. Her enthusiasm immediately vanishes. He turns his back and continues with his work. As he sets another anchor, she watches, dejected. He carefully secures the rope and the magic stones. They both peer over the edge into the chasm. He suddenly changes his mind, asking if she wants to help. Her face instantly lights up with excitement. He tells her to handle the plague rats on their way out. The mention of plague rats fills her with terror. She nervously clutches her cloak, hesitating to agree. A memory surfaces. Fear will make you lose everything. She hardens her resolve, determined not to be left behind. He watches her descend into the darkness. A flicker of concern crosses his face. She remembers the slavery seal is gone. She chose to follow him of her own free will. But if she's useless, she'll be left behind. She believes he wouldn't give her an impossible task. She enters the tunnel facing the plague rats. She refuses to be abandoned ever again. To stand by him, she must be a useful tool. Her dagger ignites with a blue aura. She leaps into the fray, slicing through the rats. The fight is brutal, but she pushes onward. She must become stronger no matter the cost. Time passes as the sun shines high above. He waits by the now-cleansed waterway. He's never let Lemelin fight alone until now. But this time, he's testing her resolve. He needs to see how she handles true danger. She's clumsy but follows his instructions. Her movements are desperate but determined. He decides the test is over for now. He calls out a lesson. Defense creates openings. His words spark a fire in her eyes. She faces the horde with renewed purpose. A rat lunges, but she's ready to counter. She dodges one rat, striking another from below. She gasps for breath, exhausted but focused. The heavy pack on her back slows her down. Suddenly, she understands her disadvantage. She uses the bag as a makeshift shield. He moves with ease, unburdened by. He asks why she's fighting with the bag. She says he ordered her to protect it. Inside are two precious, glowing gems. A flashback. He ties a rope to her waist. He told her to hold them off alone. She was terrified to face them by herself. He ascended, leaving her to fight below. The grappling hook latches onto the ledge. He asked if she thought he'd abandon her. She realizes her new master is different. Her eyes burn with a new conviction. She stands ready, facing the horde alone. The fight resumes with brutal efficiency, but she realizes the swarm is endless. Suddenly, daggers rain down from above. The projectiles pierce through the rats. She looks up, stunned by the sudden help. A smile spreads across her face. Her master watches from above, a memory surfacing. He strains, pulling the rope with all his might. He hauls her up from the dark abyss below. She looks up, ascending from the darkness. Her dagger clatters onto the ground. He yanks her upwards with incredible speed. She soars out of the pit into the open sky. He pats her head, a sign of approval. He praises her for a job well done. He's earned Kyrt's magic stone and a new submission. He wonders just how valuable Lemelin will be. But her tribe's reputation could be a problem. He dismisses the thought for now. He places the glowing red gem on an altar. The preparations are finally complete. Now it's time to deal with this. He drops a small, red object into the well. A moment of calm settles over the village. Elsewhere, a priestess casts a holy spell. A complex magic circle glows before her. She tries to channel power into the spell, but to her shock, the holy magic fails. A grim-faced man questions the situation. She turns to her captain, defeated. A knight asks if they are truly helpless. He stands resolute, ready for what's next. A knight stares up in disbelief. A geyser of pure water shoots into the sky. The villagers believe it's a divine blessing, but the captain spots something else in the water. Vicious, red-eyed plague rats rain down. He orders his knights to protect the people. Evan watches from afar, his plan unfolding. He'll let the knights handle the falling rats. He tells Lemelin it's time to move. He scans the horizon, waiting for someone. 2 bags of flowers sit ready in the field. The knight captain finally finds him. He's annoyed Evan didn't stay put. Evan explains, trying to keep relations smooth. In the distance, Lemelin chases a butterfly. The captain asks if he caused the eruption. Evan confirms it was from killing the monster. The captain realizes the monster was enormous. He can't begin to fathom Evan's true power. He asks Evan to help with the aftermath, but Evan wants to finish gathering flowers. He explains the rats are just fleeing stragglers. The knights in the village can handle them. By the time they return, it will all be over. He reveals he knows how to cure the moss disease, shocking the captain. He claims he simply read about the cure. He snaps Lemelin back to the task at hand. The captain admits even holy magic failed them. If this flower works, he'll mobilize his knights. Evan smirks, readily accepting the offer. They head back toward the village gates. Their first stop, a meeting with the village chief. Inside a small hut, an old man coughs weakly. The chief, his face covered in moss, greets them. He begins to thank them for visiting, but his eyes lock onto Lemelin, stunned. He calls her the white-haired savior. The chief explains an ancient village prophecy. It foretold a savior with flowing white hair. On that day, all suffering would be washed away. He looks to Lemelin, asking if it's really her. Evan internally scoffs at the idea. He rescued her from a slave market, after all. But the chief grabs her, overcome with gratitude. Flustered, Lemelin insists she's done nothing. He says her very presence gives him hope. She looks to her master, completely lost. Evan ignores her, asking for a vessel. He reaches into his bag for the flowers. He'll make the cure a gift from the savior. The cure requires 2 special ingredients. A flower grown in contaminated water is mixed with water from the sacred stone. When crushed together, they form the antidote. Lemelin smiles, finally able to help the villagers. Time passes as Evan waits outside alone. He's certain his plan should be in motion by now. Lemelin emerges from the hut, calling his name. She happily reports the entire village is cured. With a bright smile, she thanks him for his help. Evan coldly dismisses her gratitude. Her happy expression instantly vanishes. Just then, the knight captain approaches. He admits he had a slight misunderstanding. He now sees Evan as a virtuous hero. Evan's sigh is mistaken for pure humility. The captain feels blessed to have met him. But this isn't the reaction Evan wanted at all. He's furious. Where is his reward? He slumps, realizing his expectations were too high. Suddenly, the chief approaches with a gift. He presents a dagger passed down for generations. According to legend, it belongs to the savior, and he is absolutely certain she is the one. Flustered, Lemelin insists she's no one special. Evan eyes the dagger, calculating its worth. It's the silent true sword, a quest reward. Its stats are mediocre but perfect for Lemelin. He offers the legendary blade to her. She hesitates, but he places it in her hand. Lemelin holds her new weapon in absolute awe. He decides her happiness will be his reward, but he still feels cheated out of his prize. Ignoring her, he announces their departure. Their carriage sets off for the capital. They travel through a treacherous mountain pass. A sudden rockslide blocks their path forward. Evan clears the way with inhuman strength. Soon, a knight spots the capital ahead. The sprawling city of Sitanch appears. A closer look reveals its magnificent architecture. They are escorted down a grand castle. Armored boots echo on the polished floor. The captain warns him the king is on edge. Evan recognizes this plot from the game. The captain questions his choice of helmet. It's the same worn by a legendary hero. They finally stand before the throne. The king of Pinstanch looks weary and severe. Evan kneels, offering a formal greeting. Lemelin kneels beside him, her voice trembling. Her red eyes are filled with anxiety. The king studies them with a piercing gaze. He asks Evan about the name Razgred. Evan is stunned the king knows this name. The word echoes with dark memories. Razgred, the ancient fortress demon, a monster that rains down 1,000 weapons. Evan clenches his fist, realizing the truth. The hero from the game is already dead. He knows fighting Razgred now is suicide. This is a threat far beyond his level. But the king is confused by his reaction. He hasn't even made his request yet. Evan explains he simply sensed the king's intent. The king says his guess is close but wrong. He isn't asking Evan to fight the demon alone. A hero has already been chosen for the task. Evan's mission is to support that hero. Later, after the audience has concluded, the king stares out a grand window. The captain of the guard approaches him. He reports back to his weary king. The captain, Sir Albrecht, shares his doubts. He believes Evan is more than a mercenary. The king asks if they've verified his identity. The king tells Kelvin he has met countless men. Mercenaries are either cowards or arrogant fools. He reminds the captain of his own assessment. Kelvin admits he couldn't gauge Evan's true skill. The king values his captain's honest nature. He knew Evan was different, a worthy connection. But Kelvin worries Evan might fail his expectations. The king simply says that would be unfortunate. Elsewhere, Evan is shown to a luxurious room. A maid offers her services for anything they need. They are even provided with a tower of desserts. The white-haired girl drools at the sight. Evan simply tells her not to eat too much. He collapses onto a sofa, finally relaxing. Evan already understands the king's political scheme. The demon Razgrad is closer to their rival Cheslow. If left unchecked, the demon will weaken their enemy. Pinstanch can then save its own military forces. He recalls the thrill of the king-slaying route. But this time, the reward is worth sparing the king. The girl freezes, shocked to hear him say that. Suddenly, powerful footsteps echo down the hall. She peeks out the door, sensing an immense aura. She quickly turns back to warn her master. Someone incredibly powerful is approaching them. Evan knows her senses are incredibly sharp. But the kingdom's strongest are all at the border. A single word comes to mind: hero. The footsteps stop just outside the door. They both stare at the door, waiting. A bandaged hand slowly turns the handle. A figure is silhouetted in the door. Evan recognizes him instantly. It's the hero, Ferox Hesline. The two men size each other up in silence. The hero, a major protagonist, asks for Evan. The weapon master, Ferox Hesline, stands before him. He introduces himself, acting on the king's orders. Ferox says he's heard of Evan's deeds, but Ferox humbly dismisses the title of hero. Evan notes his personality hasn't changed at all. This means his backstory is likely the same. Evan introduces himself and a flustered Lemelin. She manages a quick, awkward greeting. The hero greets them with a disarming smile. Evan's mind flashes back to the game. He remembers Ferox as a growth-type character, a character notorious for his slow growth rate. He couldn't possibly be strong enough for the demon, so Evan decides he'll have to test him. Evan challenges the hero to a duel. Ferox tells him to drop the formalities. Evan asks for a lesson in swordsmanship. The hero accepts with a confident smile. In a flash, they both lunge forward. Wooden swords clash in the training yard. Evan's eyes burn with fierce determination. He presses the attack with surprising force. Ferox is shocked by his opponent's speed. Evan swings again, refusing to let up. The hero barely manages to block the blow. Ferox counters with a swift slash. He pushes back with his own technique. Evan taunts him, asking if this is his limit. He unleashes a powerful upward slash. The attack rushes toward an unprepared Ferox, but the hero's eyes close for a moment. They snap open, glowing with a strange light. A vision of a true battle fills his mind. His entire demeanor shifts in an instant. He parries, shattering Evan's momentum. Evan's eyes widen in complete disbelief. The hero's gaze is now cold and sharp. Evan's sword is knocked from his hand. He can only stare, utterly outmatched. Ferox ends the spar, but Evan concedes defeat. He asks Ferox not to hold back next time. Evan realizes Ferox's stats are higher than expected. He can't comprehend the hero's rapid growth. From afar, a white-haired girl watches them. Beside her, a man in red begins to clap. He applauds their impressive display of skill. He notes Ferox is worthy of his recommendation. The girl calls out to the man, Joseph. Ferox and Evan turn toward the newcomers. Ferox introduces his traveling companion, a merchant. Joseph introduces himself, and Evan understands Ferox's growth. Evan returns the introduction with a sly smile. The scene shifts to a memory of healing magic. A young girl once possessed this incredible power. Her mysterious ability was beautiful and potent. This power drew the attention of many people, but every use consumed her own life force. She smiles weakly, exhausted from the strain. Unable to refuse anyone, she depleted her life. Now she lies in bed, completely drained. A young Ferox watches over his sister, Evelyn. She asks if he went for herbs again, a memory of him crying and injured. He begs her to stop doing dangerous things. Under the cold light of the moons, a carriage once raced through the night. Evan recalls the story of the hero. Ferox learned of a holy relic to save his sister, but it was Pinstash's national treasure. He became a hero, driven by one single purpose. Most would break, but Ferox had talent. He met the king and learned a terrible truth. The fountain required its paired holy relic, a vessel held by the archdemon Razgrad. So he had to defeat the archdemon. But Ferox knew there wasn't enough time. His hands clench, confirming his fear. His sister only has 3 months left to live. The quest would take at least 6 months. Even so, he must seize any chance he gets. Evan knows it's a lost cause. Later, Ferox learns a devastating truth. A demon was the one who gave her that power. He goes berserk, vowing to kill all demons. He screams that the power is what killed her. Saving her through ordinary means is impossible. Evan turns to the girl, calling her Evelyn. He questions if he should rely on Ferox. His only goal is to relax and watch from the sidelines. His dream is a life carried by the hero, and Ferox is the perfect pawn for his scheme. He decides to make his move. He offers a shortcut to the archdemon Razgrad. Ferox agrees instantly, even with the danger. The hero smiles, unafraid of any risk. He confirms Ferox will do anything to win. But the hero has one non-negotiable rule. Evan dons his helmet, agreeing to the terms. With that settled, the hero is all in. He thinks it's wise to recruit them now. He turns to the girl, Lemelin, to use her senses. He needs a plausible excuse for a detour. The girl is completely confused. Ferox is just as lost, but Evan has his excuse. He leans in, urging her to focus. She closes her eyes, trying to listen. She detects an unfamiliar presence to the northeast. He orders the driver to stop the carriage. The driver protests, refusing to stop. He hands Lemelin a glowing green artifact. She panics, calling out to her master. They leave the carriage, heading into the woods. A mysterious witch watches from the trees. A figure runs through the underbrush. A young girl flees through the dark woods. She trips on a root, her escape cut short. She tumbles forward, crashing to the ground. Dazed and injured, she can't get up. From the mist, glowing eyes stare back. A spectral wolf emerges from the shadows. The beast snarls, its body made of mist. It lets out a bone-chilling howl. The wolf lunges, but an axe intercepts it. The blade slices clean through the monster. Evan stands tall in the swirling fog. He recognizes the creature, a Mistrunner. His plan worked, the hidden episode is unlocked. Under the full moon, the forest grows colder. More spectral wolves emerge from the trees. Evan stands over the slain beast. The girl looks up at her mysterious savior. He notes how helpless and innocent she seems. A sudden flash of light appears nearby. Lemelin arrives, looking completely unamused. Evan orders her to guard the child. He trusts her to handle any threats. With the girl safe, he draws his sword. He is ready to test his new strength. The entire pack of Mistrunners closes in. He remembers being too weak to face monsters. He recalls the bosses he barely defeated. He had to rely on tricks and weaknesses. But against these wolves, he needs no strategy. He decides to go on the offensive. Evan explodes forward into the mist. He knows their pattern, attack and retreat. The counter strategy is brutally simple. Kill them before they can vanish. He closes the distance in a blur. His sword descends on the first wolf. The blade cuts deep, a spray of blood. He's already turning to the next foe. Another Mistrunner lunges from the fog. Evan sidesteps the attack with ease. He clenches his gauntleted fist tight. A brutal punch sends the beast flying. He juggles one wolf while another attacks. His sword glows with a golden light. He unleashes a devastating crescent slash. The screen flashes red with the impact. The little girl watches, completely stunned. A lone wolf stalks toward her and Lemelin. Lemelin looks on, utterly unimpressed. A much larger wolf emerges from the shadows. Evan stares down the pack's true leader. He knows the mist is a deadly trap. He resolves to end this with a single slash. Evan launches himself into a diving attack. The wolf leaps to meet him midair. He activates a skill, Gerbier. Golden light surges through his sword. He unleashes a devastating downward arc. The attack obliterates a section of the forest, but the scene suddenly shifts to another time. Two figures walk through the dark woods. Lemelin calls out, searching for Evan. They stumble upon a horrifying sight. A young girl hangs from a tree, pleading for her life. Lemelin confronts Evan about wasting time. He demands to know what he's doing to the girl. His eyes burn with righteous fury. Evan seems completely unfazed by his anger. He says this is how he's buying them time. Lemelin is stunned by the cold response. His gloved hand clenches in rage. Evan recalls Lemelin's desperate promise. The words hit Lemelin like a physical blow. He grits his teeth, his scar pulsing. He screams, demanding to know the connection. Evan remains silent, his grip tightening. Their companion steps in, telling Lemelin to calm down. He asks Evan for an explanation they can understand. Evan drops a bombshell, the girl is a witch. Both companions are stunned by the revelation. All eyes turn to the hanging girl. The girl panics, asking how he knew her secret. Under the full moon, Lemelin recalls the legends. His hand goes to his sword, recalling the rumors. He demands to know why Evan protects her. He searches for a reason in Evan's actions. The other man speculates she's a shortcut to Razgrad. Evan confirms it. Their destination is the witch's city. This witch, he explains, is their ticket inside. He addresses her directly, calling her Stella. Stella is horrified, he knows who she is. He pulls out a gag, ordering her to be silent. Gagged, her muffled cries are useless. Lemelin remains unconvinced, but will follow for now. He demands a full explanation later. Evan agrees. Suddenly, a girl with white hair senses something. Lemelin's head whips around, sensing danger. She stands beside him as he warns of an approach. Evan can't sense it but trusts Lemelin's instincts. A storm of energy tears through the trees. A witch descends in a blur of purple energy. Her eyes glow, screaming Stella's name. She is one of the 5 sages from the witch's city. Aisha, the harmonizer of dreams, has arrived. Stella looks up, recognizing her powerful ally. Gagged, she can only rage internally. Aisha's fury ignites at the sight of her friend. A new warrior steps forward to face her. Evan identifies the man as the hero, Ferox. He watches the hero but remains unconvinced. He's been betrayed by their kind in the past. He made a vow after that painful lesson. Aisha channels a massive fireball ready to strike. She floats above Ferox, a god of destruction. Evan orders him, subdue her, don't kill her. Ferox agrees with a disturbingly eager smile. Aisha's response is a single command, die. She unleashes the blazing sphere of death. Ferox stands his ground, ready to protect them. He is the only thing between them and oblivion. Evan orders Lemelin to guard Stella from the blast. The captured witch can only watch in terror. Evan knows he could end this fight himself. But if Ferox fails, their entire plan fails with him. He watches, ready to judge the hero's worth. Aisha screams, unleashing her fiery judgment. But Ferox remains completely still. The sky itself burns above him. He plants his feet, gathering his power, then launches himself directly into the inferno. He grits his teeth, pushing through the heat. His blade cuts the spell in two. Aisha scoffs, calling him a fool. The fireball detonates in a massive explosion. She lands, confident in her victory, but realizes she might have overdone it. A voice cuts through the smoke, unimpressed. Ferox is untouched, cloaked in a powerful... Evan explains that basic magic is useless against him. The hero readies his sword for a counterattack. He closes the distance in a blur of motion. Aisha prepares another spell, mocking his courage. She unleashes a barrage of elemental magic. Her eyes narrow, focusing her power. The spells converge, a vortex of destruction. But Ferox's eyes glow with a strange light. He moves between the attacks with impossible speed. Evan reveals the hero's true power, time acceleration. He perceives time 3 times faster than anyone else. Aisha is stunned, realizing his true strength. Ferox closes the gap instantly. His blade shatters her defenses. She can't believe a hero is here. He moves in a blinding flash, sending her flying across the battlefield. He dismisses her magic as cheap tricks. Suddenly, another woman appears, furious. She accuses him of harming a child. He denies it, but she attacks anyway. The woman unleashes a torrent of fire. The ground cracks under the spell's heat. A massive fire elemental is summoned. Ferox faces the new, fiery threat. He decides it's time to stop holding back. He plants his sword, gathering his power. The fire golem roars in defiance. Ferox leaps high above his foe. He meets the golem's attack head-on. His blade glows with immense energy, cleaving the monster clan in two. The summoner watches in utter disbelief. His eyes are cold and focused. The golem crumbles into dust around him. She seethes, enraged by a human's power. But Ferox just smirks, ready for more. The furious summoner unleashes her magic. But it's the child who casts the spell. A complex barrier forms in her hands. She fires a concentrated blast of energy. A hexagonal shield materializes before Ferox. She dares him to try and break through. Ferox just watches, unconcerned. He wonders if it's truly unbreakable. He plants his feet, ready to test it. A brilliant flash of light erupts. He surges forward in a single motion, his blade meeting the magical barrier. A savage grin spreads across his face. The shield begins to crack and splinter. It shatters into 1,000,000 pieces. Her confidence completely evaporates. He boasts that nothing can stop his blade. The scene shifts to a dark, misty forest. A rope hangs ominously from a tree. The younger sister runs, crying out. The summoner embraces her, saying it's over. But Ferox's party interrupts the reunion. She glares, demanding to know their purpose. The masked leader needs a guide to the witch's city. He warns her of the consequences of betrayal. She tries to understand this strange man. His strength seems limitless, but so do his flaws. He might be a greater monster than Ferox. She weighs the risk of leading them to her home. The masked leader demands her final answer. With no other choice, she agrees to guide them. Their journey begins under the pale moonlight. A lone wagon cuts through the misty forest. He notes the convenience of a witch's staff. The summoner flies alongside them, now their guide. She keeps her guard up, watching them closely. She leads the wagon through the treacherous path. She finally demands to know their true purpose. He asks if she really needs him to explain. She finds it suspicious for 2 hero-level humans to visit. If they are a threat, she must be prepared. He stares back, his motives hidden by the mask. He reveals their simple goal: they need a portal. The summoner is stunned by the unexpected answer. All this trouble just to use a portal. He confirms, saying there's no reason to lie. She wonders if she was worrying for nothing. She smirks, thinking humans can't grasp their ways. She confirms his resolve one last time. Then he must be prepared for the consequences. She smirks, telling him to lead the way. She warns him not to regret his choice. The wagon rumbles deeper into the forest. Inside, a grim truth is revealed. If the archdemon falls, Evelyn will die. The companion notes this could be an advantage, but Ferox believes sweet words always hide lies. His companion questions his deep suspicion. Ferox wonders how Evan knows so much. His companion agrees Evan prioritizes action over talk. Mercenary Evan cares only for practicality, not honor. He is the polar opposite of the righteous Ferox. Their conflict could easily shatter the entire party. Ferox's expression hardens, his mind made up. He decides to bury his doubts for now. His companion confirms his unwavering resolve. Ferox admits he's also keeping secrets from Evan. The journey continues under the full moon. Wheels turn, carrying them toward their destination. Suddenly, Evelyn orders the carriage to stop. The coachman looks back, confused by the command. She warns they're at the edge of an abyss. He pulls the reins hard, halting the horses. Evelyn stares in wide-eyed disbelief. Ferox and his companion step out to investigate. Ferox's companion questions their location in the mist. Evelyn confirms a magical barrier is blocking the way. A pink-haired woman steps forward to dispel it. She begins a powerful incantation to nature, commanding the wind to sweep away the mist, and the moon to illuminate their paths. Her spell asks for nature's blessing and clear sight. Her eyes flare with immense magical power. The spell rips through the illusion, parting the fog. Ferox is stunned by the sight that's revealed. The woman announces they've reached the witch's city. Before them lies the hidden city of Estelwind. The party enters the moonlit streets of the city. A grand, imposing tower dominates the sky. Inside, a white-haired woman waits by a window. The pink-haired woman reports to the great sage. She explains she's brought adventurers with her. Their goal to use the portal in the city. They stand before the highest of the 6 sages. The Grand Witch Ileana invites them to relax. She pours a strange, purple tea for her guests. Ileana offers the weary travelers a special brew. The witch sips her own tea with a calm smile. Ferox eyes the cup, suspicious of a witch's brew. Evan also considers the obvious risk of poison, but Evan reaches for the cup anyway. He takes a sip, declaring it's not bad. His companions watch, still deeply hesitant. The Grand Witch is amused by his lack of suspicion. Evan asks what there is to be suspicious of. She explains most humans fear a witch's hospitality. Evan simply says he decided to trust her. After all, their guide Aisha trusted them first. Aisha is caught completely off guard by his words. The Grand Witch puts her on the spot for an answer. With the test over, she gets to the main point. Her eyes glow, questioning their true motives. She then reveals the portal is unavailable. The scarred swordsman is visibly shocked. Ferox's expression immediately hardens. Ileana notes their sudden change in demeanor. She clarifies that it's only temporarily unusable. The portal is currently under several restrictions. Evan presses her for more details. She gives them a single chilling name, Razgrad. The name alone sends a shock through the party. The others finally drink, processing the news. A heavy silence falls over the entire room. The city's mana is being used to defend against Razgrad, which means the portal is down for at least 3 days. But Evan knows most of that was a lie. In fact, everything is going to plan. Night falls over the city of witches. Aisha leads the party down a long hall. She explains their rooms have been separated. It's an arrangement they'll have to accept. Evan immediately sees through the obvious ploy. He plays along, thanking her for the guidance. As she turns to leave, he calls her name. Evan asks for a private discussion later. Aisha is completely taken by surprise. He invites her to come to his room. The guide is left utterly speechless. A voice in her head orders her to go. Aisha reluctantly agrees to meet him tonight. She departs, leaving the party alone. But someone is waiting in the shadows. A hooded figure steps into her path. It's the Grand Witch holding an orb. Aisha explodes, furious at being spied on. Her sister was listening the entire time. Back in the highest tower of the city, the Grand Witch was worried about a deadline. She thanks Aisha for bringing the guests. Now she asks if Aisha knows her next move. Aisha snaps that she knows the plan. Her sister coldly dismisses her concern, but Aisha's eyes betray her deep conflict. She asks if they're really sending them to Belladonna. The Grand Witch's gaze is unwavering. She confirms it without a second thought. Aisha's anger flares at the cruel decision. The alternative is sacrificing their own witches. Her hands clench in silent protest. The Grand Witch explains their offerings are gone. In 3 days, their entire city will fall. She asks if Aisha is ready for that failure. Aisha stumbles back, unable to answer. The Grand Witch claims they have no choice. Evan's trust in Aisha is their only opening. She orders her sister to exploit it tonight. With grim resolve, Aisha finally agrees. The Grand Witch reveals she used her eye of insight. She saw that Evan came with a hidden purpose. His entire group must share the same goal. She senses something strange but dismisses it. She gives Aisha her task for the night. Aisha accepts, her face hidden in shadow. She clenches her fist, thinking of her duty. She is a protector of Estelwind after all. Aisha's expression hardens with resolve, but his words make her blush furiously. Evan watches her, his gaze unreadable. The room is quiet, lit by a single chandelier. Her mind flashes back to her childhood. She remembers always feeling alone. She hoped becoming a sage would earn her sister's love, so she buried herself in endless study. One day, she found a strange book. Her eyes widen at its contents. It told the story of a witch and a human. The man's words echo in her memory. Evan asks what's wrong and she deflects. He brings up the legend of the first blessing. She's stunned he knows their secret lore. He claims he read it in a human strategy guide. Aisha grows suspicious of his story. Evan dismisses it as just an old legend. He asks what he must do for the blessing. Outside, a crow with glowing eyes watches them. The full moon hangs over the witch's tower. Aisha reminds herself this is for her family. Evan says it's time to begin. His eyes suddenly gleam with hidden power. She looks up, completely caught off guard. Evan's gaze is sharp, questioning her. Aisha tells him to relax his body. She whispers for him to just let go. She pushes him down onto the bed. She promises to handle everything from here. But Evan's expression remains perfectly calm. Outside, the glowing-eyed crow watches them. A strange sigil burns in its eye. The crow is a familiar, a spy for her sister. The sister, Ileana, watches the scene unfold. She boasts their charm makes anyone a puppet. She calls humans weak, controlling a boy named Ferox. A memory flashes of a man's cruelty. A young witch cries alone in a corner. Her sister's words echo, a future sacrifice. Back in the present, Evan's helmet sits nearby. Evan's mind is clear, he's only pretending. He needs her to believe she has one. Because if Aisha thinks he's charmed, then her sister Ileana will stop watching. The crow's glowing eye lingers for a moment. Then the magic fades from its gaze. The familiar flies off into the night. Evan breaks the silence, perfect. His sudden confidence catches her completely off guard. With a sudden move, he grabs her. The tables turn in a single, fluid motion. Now he's the one pinning her down. Her confidence shatters into confusion. He tells her it's time for a real talk. He reveals he took a special medicine, a rare herb that grants status immunity. Her charm magic was useless from the start. She insists his resistance is impossible. He reveals his true purpose here. He is an emissary of the gods. His mission to eradicate every demon. And his primary target is the archdemon. From afar, Ileana scoffs at his claim. Aisha questions if he can actually succeed. He states it with absolute certainty. A strange power glimmers in his eyes. A divine light emanates from him. The entire room fills with a golden aura. The display of power leaves her unsettled. He asks if she's ready to cooperate. She reluctantly agrees to listen. They finally sit down to have their discussion. Aisha lets out a weary sigh. She asks about his plan for the archdemon. She demands to know his plan of attack. He says it's possible with an ally named Ferox. But for the plan to succeed, he needs her. Aisha is taken aback by his request. He explains he chose her for her rationality. She's the only witch still fighting Razgrad. He calls her the last hope against the beast. His words leave her completely stunned. He reminds her that the other witches gave up. Even their great witch found no solution. Razgrad's power shattered their will to fight. She's shocked he knows their secret despair. He elaborates on their crippling fear. They're too afraid to even take a step. The witches have lost all their courage. Crushed by their own helplessness, they are completely paralyzed by fear. She asks what else they could possibly do. She screams, asking if he thinks they haven't tried. His gaze remains cold and unwavering. He doesn't care what they've tried. He only cares about their lack of results. The witches are simply ignoring their doom. But he offers them a path to salvation. He asks her to take his hand and trust him. She admits they just wanted to hear there was hope. She laughs, calling his offer completely insane. But his words give her a strange sense of hope. His cold logic somehow brings her comfort. She makes it clear she doesn't trust him yet, but she demands to hear his plan. He reveals the plan, they will be the sacrifices. She's horrified, screaming that sacrifices never return. He says it doesn't matter, only one person must die. His statement leaves her completely stunned. He reminds her of his divine revelation. The revelation's true target, kill Belladonna. Later, she reflects on Evan's strange actions. He knows things he shouldn't, even about Belladonna. She reveals Belladonna betrayed them to Razgrad. Still, she finds his claim of being a god's emissary absurd. She glances at him, a blush on her face. He suddenly pushes her down onto the bed. He flashes a disarmingly charming smile. She's left completely flustered by his move. The scene shifts to a majestic tower. Inside, a magnificent feast is laid out. Evan dines with a group of unfamiliar faces. A scarred man with white hair thanks someone. He compliments the food, saying it tastes enchanted. The host, Ileana, playfully dotes on the scarred man. Another man, Joseph, is encouraged to try the soup. He's blown away by the incredible flavor. The second witch, Mylan, eats with a pout. Another guest, Lemelin, eats quietly at the table. The host's praise leaves Lemelin completely flustered. The host is revealed as the third witch, Solna. She laments the absence of a fourth witch. Evan watches the witches, his expression unreadable. He notices a pink-haired woman's growing irritation. Her displeasure is written all over her face. He notes that Aisha's favorability has risen, but he knows that just sitting here is a mistake. His silence would prove her charm is useless on him. He can see the host is already growing suspicious. He breaks the silence, addressing Aisha directly. Startled, she demands to know what he wants. He compliments her beauty and tells her to look ahead. She's confused by his strange instruction. Her gaze falls upon the watchful host, Solna. Playing along, she explains how she got the earring. She thanks him and offers a gift in return. He then asks her for a tour of the city. He requests a private tour, just the two of them. The host allows it, telling them not to be late. Aisha is caught completely off guard. His direct request leaves her blushing. Flustered, she grabs his wrist and agrees. She pulls him away from the table. The doors slam shut, leaving Lemelin behind. They step out into the vast, ethereal city. On a high bridge, they finally stop. Aisha turns, demanding an explanation. He calmly asks if there's a problem. He asks if she was truly unaffected by the charm. She's left completely speechless. Her expression shifts to confusion. Suddenly, they both sense a presence. Lemelin has followed them from the dining hall. She stammers that she followed her master. He confirms it, but her actions defy the charm's rules. He wonders if he's immune to magic. But his race is known for its weakness to status effects. This vulnerability nearly wiped out his people. Aisha whispers that Solna's magic is getting closer. He tells Lemelin to head back for now. She asks about their morning training. He coldly dismisses her, saying there is none. Aisha notes his harsh tone toward the girl. As she speaks, a figure appears in the mist. Solna reveals Lemelin spoke of his kindness. She smiles, noting most humans fear her kind. He recognizes Solna, the Starweaver, a new variable. The four of them stand on the misty bridge. High above the city, the confrontation begins. Solna asks about his training with Lemelin. He confirms that they train together. She wants to watch them spar, a strange request. He senses a change in her usual behavior. He turns to Lemelin, who looks surprised. He declares their next match will be a tough one. They relocate to a misty forest clearing. Aisha demands to know what Evan is thinking. He asks if Solna's charm has ever failed. Aisha scoffs, calling her sister the best witch. Evan finds the contradiction strange. She's angered by his line of questioning. He simply says he doesn't know. His vague answer leaves her speechless. Evan explains there's not enough information yet. Across the field, Lemelin prepares for battle. She puts her hands on her hips, ready. From a ledge, she watches them talk. Aisha grabs Evan, trying to stop him. She realizes he thinks Lemelin wasn't charmed. Aisha realizes the danger if he's right. Evan kneels, ready to confirm his suspicion. She decides she'll help him find out. He gives her a deeply skeptical look. Her plan is to ask her sister directly. She's sure Solna won't suspect a thing. Evan warns her one wrong word puts them both at risk. She just teases him for being worried. He tries to stress the danger, but she's overconfident. She laughs, saying he talks a lot when flustered. Annoyed, Evan walks toward the clearing. As he approaches Lemelin, something feels off. He must confirm the truth, not jump to conclusions. Lemelin fears the witch will take her master away. He tells her to attack when she's ready. She lunges with blinding speed, but he parries. He notes her improvement, preparing a counter. Evan unleashes a massive wave of energy. The attack tears through the battlefield. She struggles to hold her ground against the blast. In shock, she calls out to her master, but he's already behind her, sword raised. He slams his blade into the ground. The impact sends a shockwave of dust and debris. As the smoke clears, Lemelin stands ready. The dust cloud completely blocks her vision. She tries to sense her master's presence instead, but he's already appeared right behind her. He moves in a flash, grabbing her head. Pinning her, he slams his sword into the dirt. Her eyes widen in complete shock. He simply holds a finger to his lips. He pulls out a purple stone and feeds it to her. He asks her what she's doing here. She replies that they were just training. Evan confirms his suspicion. She wasn't charmed. Meanwhile, the two sisters watch from a distance. Aisha turns to her sister, Solna. She asks if Solna's enchantments ever fail. Solna admits they do, sensing Aisha's worry. Aisha fears her own spell was only half effective. She feels her magic wasn't strong enough. Solna reveals her spell didn't affect Lemelin either. She reminds Aisha that Lemelin was chasing Evan. Breaking free proves the spell failed. Solna finds such powerful obsession thrilling. Evan knows Lemelin's memory is intact. This new information makes things very complicated. Lemelin is completely lost, asking what's wrong. He tells her to forget this conversation happened. Evan is disappointed in her lack of growth. He asks why she aims for his sword, not him. Lemelin stammers, unable to answer. The thought of attacking him is impossible. Her master's patience is wearing thin. She simply cannot bring herself to do it. He warns her that such hesitation is fatal. In her current state, he can't take her. Desperate, she insists that she can do it. He gives her one last chance, show me. From the woods, the sisters watch the test unfold. Lemelin reflects on her growing anxiety. She's terrified he will leave her behind. She resolves to become truly indispensable. Focusing her mind, she gathers her power. Evan senses a sudden shift in her aura. He wonders if she's mimicking Caddy's style. She taps into her Bequa clan heritage, pushing her body to its absolute limit. Evan is stunned by her reckless display. She moves like a bolt of golden lightning. The ground shatters from her sheer speed. He can't believe what he's seeing. A massive electrical blast erupts from her. She unleashes an overwhelming attack on him. She pushes herself, demanding more speed. Her focus sharpens into a golden blur. Evan's eyes flare, bracing for the impact. She descends upon him, a lightning-fast strike. He meets her blade with his own sword. The force of her attack cuts his cheek, but he deflects her, slamming her down. Evan realizes her power has also grown. He asks if she's capable of using magic. He demands to know what that power was. Lemelin admits she has no idea herself. The sisters emerge, applauding her effort. The white-haired sister praises her clan's speed. Lemelin wonders if Evan has magic talent. He finds it strange Bequas don't use magic. The sister confirms Lemelin used raw magic. She offers to test the messenger herself.